Hello, boys and girls. I want to welcome you to another Strange Talk. We have a very special guest. I have a serial entrepreneur, a watch collector, watch fan, a man who knows his hip hop from the 90s.
Oh, shit. You're bringing it out the gate, huh?
Right at the gate.
The pressure's already on, I feel it.
We're going for it. Co-founder of Kit. And also, what was your position when you were at Shopify?
I was many positions at Shopify, but probably most notably the director of product at Shopify.
Great. And they acquired your company in 2016?
Yeah.
Great. So, and now you are working on a new company, which we'll talk about later.
Back in the founder seat.
Exactly. And it's called?
Maple.
Maple.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's cheers. Let's cheers to that.
Absolutely. You can't not celebrate life.
So, I think this can go many facets. I think one of the things that's interesting is that we've kind of been working on and off for like the past almost year.
Definitely almost a year.
Yeah.
I started working out with you January 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 10 months.
Yeah, 10 months.
I was actually taking that month off for paternal leave from my son.
Yeah.
And it was up here in Calistoga and haven't looked back.
Yeah. No, it's been really cool. And, you know, and kind of getting to know you, your parents and your siblings come up a lot.
Yeah.
What do they mean to you? And, you know, how would you kind of describe your childhood?
I don't know if you can actually describe the value of somebody that you care about at that level.
Yeah.
There's no ROI, no measurement, you know, my family's, I think anyone who knows me well knows that I can authentically say my family means more to me than any other piece of my life.
Totally.
Whether that's my mother, my father, my sister, my wife, my son. I think family is core to the experience as a human being.
Yeah.
My parents have sacrificed a tremendous amount for me, and so I have a sense of gratitude for them that I think is very genuine and very real. And I think understanding that circumstantially my life could have gone in very different directions, and just feeling endlessly humbled by how my life has played out and the role that they played in guiding me to this point. And then my sister, you know, we're only 2 years apart, but we have a very dynamic relationship. I feel like at times she's my own child, just from my mom. My mom, from birth to, let's say, 6th grade, my mom was a waitress, so she worked nights.
Yeah.
And my father was a very hardworking man who worked basically all the time.
Yeah.
And so my sister, I felt like, was in my care and watch a lot.
Yeah.
And so maybe one of the coolest things is kind of feeling that I played two different roles in her world, and as she's become an older woman, more of just a brother. But there's, you know, I feel like all things are pretty much in my life replaceable but them.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting how no matter what you're doing from the outside, to be able to come home or be able to kind of connect with those people who've seen the story in the beginning is kind of interesting.
Yeah, you know, I think that, you know, family, I think that they are the actual environment, not where you live, not what's happening down your block, but what's happening inside your house is your environment.
Totally.
And my mother and father always firmly believed in an honest day's work. Like, hard work was everything, and sacrificing and putting your family first was everything. And it was always this collaborative effort. You know, Sundays my grandmother fed all of us. My mom and my aunt worked together. My father felt like was trying to take care of everybody. My sister has carried that through her life as a mother, but also as a giver, joining the Peace Corps, giving away bone marrow to save somebody's life. Just like, it's been I think a deep reflection of our family values has been about always look to the person to the left and right of the table before you focus on what's happening on yourself.
Yeah.
And I just feel like what's been critical for my own success is that my parents always put what we needed first before what society thought we needed. Right? So my parents were like, hey, they knew I was not academically sharp. I think the stories are some of the most important ones about my, getting kicked off the basketball team almost every year for grades.
Yeah.
And my mom walking down to the principal's office every year, petitioning for me to get back on.
Yeah.
And just trying to help them explain that I wasn't a dumb kid, it wasn't lack of effort. It's just school was not set up for me.
Yeah.
And when I decided to leave college to start companies, most parents I think would struggle with that decision.
Yeah.
Where my parents actually just expected that was going to be a part of my journey.
Yeah.
And so, these moments are defining, but the thing about them that I think is so unique and that I've taken away is that they're very consistent.
Yeah.
It's not like these like one-off times where my parents were great or my parents were bad. It was the consistency about how they approached life and how they approached raising my sister and I, and the values that they instilled in us to be able to survive on our own.
Yeah.
Regardless of social norms, society pressure, all these things that I think have just played such a critical role in just being courageous.
Yeah.
And just building businesses and just not giving a fuck and just doing what you need to do as my parents did what they needed to do.
Exactly. So in doing what you need to do, and it sounds very strongly that, your family is part of your wellness. And like, how would you, outside of your family, how do you take care of yourself?
Well, my family is definitely a part of my wellness.
Yeah.
Just to wrap this up. I mean, my mother's going to watch this interview and laugh. Anyone that knows me knows I talk to my mom every single day at 34 years of age and still check in with her about life. So my family is 100%. When shit's going bad with my family, there's no hiding it on me. And when shit's going great and I feel like my family's taken care of, I'm all in on feeling good about life.
Yeah.
I think one thing as I've gotten older and maybe matured a bit is I haven't always put my mental and physical health as priority one.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I was younger, I was an athlete, super competitive. I was in good shape. I loved basketball and golf and surfing and biking and all these different things, different waves and chapters of my life where I had different interests.
Yeah.
And as I started building companies and really putting my business, sadly in a lot of ways, my business before anything, including my family.
Yeah.
For a chapter, my personal health took a huge hit, and certainly probably the saving grace was the introduction of mindfulness and meditation, which I'm a strong advocate and daily practicer of. That's a constant work in progress, and then that's evolved to just further awareness of working with a trainer to try to keep me honest about, I like going to you and actually feeling out of shape. I'm like, okay, I've fallen off again.
Yeah.
And equally so, I work with an executive coach where it's a supplement to the meditation.
Yeah.
Right? It's someone that I can talk to about things that I'm not able to center myself around, and I equally have that same sense of awareness that, okay, I still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Right. So I think part of being balanced and having good mental and physical health is being aware that you're not in the best form, and that also being aware you're always going to have room to improve.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm probably like yourself, probably never going to be the athlete I was at 20, or 16. But I can still take care of my body.
Yes.
And I'm probably, hopefully, going to be more mentally sound at 60 than I am at 34, because I think that's what's interesting about mental health and mindfulness and meditation is that you have a constant gym there, a constant muscle that doesn't deteriorate until generally later in life, doesn't deteriorate the same way the body does.
Yeah.
And so there's more room for me to actually find my best version of myself there versus now I'm in maintenance mode of my body, right?
Yeah.
And that weird relationship and that yin and yang of appreciating that my body isn't what it once was, but I got to keep investing harder in that than ever before. Yeah. And my mind isn't where it's at, but to get to where it needs to be, I have to invest in that harder than I ever have before.
Exactly.
It's been interesting as I've gotten older to respect those two things.
Do you have like when it comes to the mindfulness, do you have like a routine, or do you when you get up in the morning, do you do it in the morning? Do you do it in the evening? How does that work usually?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's almost like meditation is almost like substance abuse to me. Mm-hmm. I find myself doing it the most infrequently, like outside of my habits, when shit's feeling really bad. Yeah. Right? So when things feel super stressful at work, or I feel stuck on an idea, because that's a huge pressure around my life, is can you come up with a concept that fits a problem? When I'm not feeling like that sense of clarity, or there's just all the various versions of chaos, I find myself almost needing a drink, meditating constantly. I'll take 10-minute sprints, stop, turn everything down, sit in my office on the floor, try to, rebalance myself. And I think that actually probably what I'm most proud of is building that muscle to know my need, right? Like when I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm not feeling right now. Let me just take a step back.
Yeah.
And even feeling anxious and stressed out, investing in myself there.
Yeah.
But from a habit perspective, I almost always start my day with meditation.
Yeah.
Like I won't even check an email before I sit down and calm myself down, because I think it's so important to have that moment with yourself, but also so important for you to understand that in the scheme of life, we are all so irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes with business specifically, there's so much weight on self-importance, on success, and all this stuff that it really can have unnecessarily negative impacts on our day, and equally so inject like vanity and artificial goodness about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that starting my day with meditation and starting my day alone in my space and feeling highly connected to earth, I'm just like constantly reminded that I'm this insanely small part of this incredibly beautiful system.
Yeah.
And someday I'm going to leave this earth and get replaced by some other being that is a small part into this incredibly, and that's a part of the system.
Yeah.
And I just have found myself to be such a better leader and such a better person with so much more self-worth when I actually realize how insanely irrelevant I actually am.
Yeah.
So starting my day with and then on really fuck days, and my wife will be like, I think it's time for you to go upstairs.
Yeah.
I usually will meditate before I sleep.
Yeah.
And just so that way I can actually have an honest night's sleep.
Yeah.
When I don't do that, I lay in bed stressed out, sweating, tossing, turning, frustrated, angry, whatever.
Yeah.
And just to kind of, again, recommit myself to being a part of what's happening on this earth and this universe, and just to be a smaller being, is such a critical sense of honesty to go to bed with.
Yeah. If you didn't have that meditation, or what are the things that that keep you up at night, or if you didn't have that meditation?
I mean, I feel like I carry a lot of weight as an entrepreneur, and even as an executive, I felt like I carried a lot of weight. My team size at one point was relatively large. I feel beyond the companies themselves, I feel a tremendous amount of empathy for our users.
Yeah.
Right? So at Shopify and my years before Shopify with Kit and Giving and the other companies, they were very small business centric.
Yes.
Right? And you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business operator. Like, I would go to bed at night, quite honestly, thinking about you and people that I build products for, and be like, wow, fuck, it is so hard.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone actually realizes how hard your life probably is, right?
Yeah.
And so I do. And so like I kind of, for better or for worse, went to bed at night revisiting almost every decision I made, knowing at the scale of the decision making I'm doing, which is, 1 million merchants were using our products, billions and billions of dollars per month flowing through our platform.
Yeah.
I made a decision that's likely going to drastically help someone's business. I also potentially made a decision that hurt somebody's business.
Yeah.
And the guilt of knowing that I sat between those two lines is all consuming when you, I think, come from a place of deep empathy, right? My grandfather was an entrepreneur, my uncle was an entrepreneur, my father worked for small family businesses. Like, these are my people.
Yeah.
And just knowing the impact I'm having, I take very seriously.
Yeah.
Today, I'm now building products for families. And I still come from this deep, I don't think I could build a product or a company if it wasn't empathetic.
Yeah.
If it didn't come from a place of care, I just don't have interest in it. And so I think that when you care at such an extraordinarily high level about people, like when I think about my products at Maple, I'm almost always thinking about my mother.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Right? Because my mother was young when she had me, and she poured her life into her kids. My father poured his life into his kids. And they sacrificed a tremendous amount to give us a substantially better life than they ever will have.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Past and present and future. And so, when I'm tired and I want to give up, and I just keep thinking, like, there's a 23-year-old mom out there with a newborn baby who's needing this.
Yeah.
And there's a 25-year-old mom and a 35-year-old mom and a 45-year-old dad and whatever. And I go to bed with those as kind of my final thoughts. And so that is what kind of keeps me up, keeps me feeling very heavy. And so meditation, I think, kind of counterbalances the empathy.
What's interesting is that as I was kind of prepping for our talk, I noticed the two letters L-E are probably best captured in the things that are important to you.
Well, probably, yeah, definitely.
So you got Leonardo.
Lander. Yep.
Alex.
Yep.
And you got Maple.
Yep.
And so I want you to kind of take some time within those four.
Yeah, my favorite idol, my son, my wife, my company. Yeah.
What is your connection with Leonardo? What was your fascination with him?
I mean, quite honestly, my fascination was, I think that in life, people try to box you in. People try to say, "Oh, you're just a trainer."
Yeah.
My favorite thing that I love for people to tell me is, "I'm just a car salesman." That's my favorite motivation.
Yes.
Right? Is like everyone wants to find this stereotype of you, and make that every orbit about you.
Yes.
Right.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, shut up and dribble, and it's like so small-minded thinking.
Yeah.
And what I loved about Da Vinci, so I didn't know much about Da Vinci, and then in 2017, I read the biography by Walter Isaacson about Da Vinci. And what I loved about Da Vinci was that throughout his life he was many things. He never referred to himself as an artist, even though arguably he's the greatest ever at painting. He never referred to himself as a scientist, even though arguably he's one of the greatest ever at discovery. He never referred to himself as a sculptor. He never referred to himself as, he designed water systems, he designed military guns, he designed plays, he actually made instruments, he played instruments. Like, he did all of these things that arguably you can box him into any one of those things and he'd be the best at it.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about Da Vinci was that he always just saw himself as Da Vinci. It's just that these are the fabrics of who he was.
Yeah.
And I just immensely respected that he didn't give a fuck about how anyone else defined him.
Yeah.
And and for myself, it gave me this huge breathing room of saying, I actually deeply love working on ideas. I actually deeply love working in design. I actually like writing lines of code. I actually love writing poetry. I actually, sadly, probably one of my strengths, I'm phenomenal at closing business deals.
Yeah.
I don't love it as much as the other things, but I'm exceptional at it.
Yeah.
Right? And so at various points of my career, people have tried to put a label about what I am. And ultimately, what I am is just a father above anything. That's the only label I'll accept. And all the other things are just fabrics to who I am.
Yeah.
And it gave me just such hope that it's okay to be many things. I was never, and I would teach this to my son, I'm never going to let anyone define me. I'm always going to let my effort and my body of work define me.
Yeah.
And I needed to see that from somebody else. And I don't think a lot of people are willing to step out on a ledge who have all these other amazing things about themselves.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, fuck you, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
Because in today's world, you're seen as arrogant. And there's a humble way about doing it.
Totally.
Right? And I think he mastered that in a lot of ways. It's hard to say how humble he actually was in real life, because he was very successful during his life. Kings sought after him. The world sought after him. He was not the Van Gogh who had success after death. He was wildly successful during his time on this planet, but he was committed to curiosity and exploring these other avenues about himself. He wasn't going to say, 18, he was going to trade school and doing all this amazing things to become a painter, and he was willing to abandon all that for 10 years and come back to it. And so life is best when you're curious.
Totally.
Right? And I still think that the best parts about myself, I just don't even know what they are yet. And I needed that. I needed that at that time in my life. And so I have just immense amount of respect for him.
And so let's talk about Leander. What has this little guy kind of, what was when he was born? I'll give you a point of view on my sense. When I had Caleb, my first, it probably, I already had the pressure, I already felt it, but I would say the connection, once he was 3 months, And
it's a crazy like ramp up of love.
it is.
Like all of a sudden something happens and then you're like, holy shit, it like starts compounding like interest.
Yeah.
Like your love just intensifies.
It's a fire.
It is. It's a crazy fire.
It's kind of like these wildfires. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like it can start with a spark.
It can. And spreads quick.
And it spreads and it overwhelms you in a way.
Yeah.
So you're starting Maple.
Yep.
And this is the first time you're starting a company,
Yep.
and now you're a father.
Yep.
What is different?
I mean, this is a pretty heavy question, dude. And I'll say it because I'm only 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
And I'm being very mindful about the fact that I was hesitant to start a company because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, being a father, and I should take a step back, and I'm going to say actually just being a parent, I think it's, and I'm saying this from a place of love because I understand that there are people biologically who cannot have children.
Yeah.
And I'm very, and there's people who don't want to have children. So it's not for everybody. But for me, becoming a parent, going back and maybe piggybacking a bit off the Da Vinci thread, as someone who I feel like never fit in. You know what I mean? Like, I played basketball in predominantly black neighborhoods. I was the white kid who played on all the black teams, never fit in. My teammates didn't like me. Like, it was tough, but I never gave up, right? I went to a college prep school. My parents were not affluent, and I was not smart, so it was like X, X, X.
Yeah.
Did not fit in. Did not have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Didn't go to an Ivy League school, didn't go to a good college, didn't even finish college, and at 18 was selling cars full-time, 80 hours a week, and did not fit in because my father was the boss and everyone else that I worked with was just like gorillas and lions, and I was like this sweet kid just trying to make money and just different zoo, you know what I'm saying? Just did not fit in. Became an entrepreneur, did not fit in. Non-technical in Silicon Valley, didn't have money, didn't have education, did not fit in. Got acquired by Shopify. They welcomed me in with open arms. I was the only American in a Canadian company. So equally there's times where I just did not feel like I fit in, but I'm saying that with an asterisk because they gave me a tremendous amount of love and
But they were the outsider.
yeah, right? And so then I became a father and I just didn't give a fuck about fitting in.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, this is my purpose.
Yeah.
This is where I belong.
Yeah.
This is and so I think it gave me this sense of confidence about who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I believe being a part of a family, you know, what's interesting is like, and no one talks about this. I think everyone walks around this planet, myself included. This is what my son taught me. It took a second for me to slow down and look around the world, is that every species on this earth, this olive tree, has one intended purpose: to create seeds, drop them, and make more olive trees. Same with all the animals around this house, right? We have one purpose as a species, and that is to push our species forward. Our purpose as living things is to keep all things living.
Yeah.
Now, man has come and picked these olives and made olive oil and pickled them and done all kinds of other things with it. We've hunted the animals. We've done a million things with it. Society has thought this is what the purpose is of this, but the true purpose is to keep the species going.
Yeah.
And my son gave me that, where I actually for the first time felt calm, where I felt, you know what, I'm not an entrepreneur. That's something that I'm doing as a member of society. I'm not an executive. That's a member of society. I'm not this. What I actually am is I'm just Leander's dad. Yeah. And my job and my purpose is to make sure that my son is okay.
Yeah.
And that he has a shot of being a father someday. And that just hit me very deeply, that I think has kind of just, I mean, he's been my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Like 100%, right? Like it's like life and like all the lessons of life times like 1,000 in a 16-month period with my son. And so he means, he's at the highest point of the totem pole.
Yeah.
There's nothing that matters more to me.
Yeah.
There's no dollar, there's no car, there's no watch, there's no house, there's no, none of it will ever matter more to me than my son.
Yeah.
I'd leave this company if it affects my relationship with my son.
Yeah.
I'll step down from the. I'm never ever going to let something rob me of the experience of being a father to Leander.
Yeah.
Ever. That's the greatest freedom that I've earned in securing some financial security and selling a company, is that I have the freedom, if I need to and want to full-time commit myself to Leander.
Yeah.
And that will always be my priority. Now, that's something that stuck with me for a long time, and part of building Maple was the company is a dedication to him. He's the inspiration behind the company. And the biggest piece about it was that I wanted to show my son that I set out a goal 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been on this fucking journey of hell for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show my son when he's, entering the prime of his life, that when you see something for yourself, when you believe in yourself, you have to be committed at all costs, right? Like, I think I'm the greatest entrepreneur on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, I just do. And that's no disrespect to you or anybody else. Like, that's just where my confidence is at, is that, like, I just feel that I'm destined to make great companies.
Yeah.
And I want to be one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want. And by that, my definition of that is different for each individual person. That's not financial for me.
Yeah.
What that is for me is, can I build something that helps hundreds of millions of people?
Yeah.
I tried that with Kit. I came up short. I participated at Shopify. We helped 1 million. Like, can Maple help 100 million people?
Yeah.
That's my only goal.
So what is what you can explain right now?
Yeah.
What if somebody said, what is Maple? What is Maple?
So Maple is it's a software company. I think I should put the groundwork there just so people know. It's an app. But the focus of Maple, again, is like, I look at the experience that I had as a child. My parents could have used the help. And I look at the experience I have now as a father who has lots of help.
Yeah.
And the goal of Maple is, can we use artificial intelligence? Can we use machine learning? Can we use these great technologies that have been making every 9-to-5 job on this planet easier? Can we take that technology and can we automate portions of parenting to make their life easier as a parent? Can we help them figure out their children's life goals and help them find a path there? Can we help them figure out the best ways of feeding their child? Can we just give them the assistance and the help that they need?
Yeah.
Because every parent has the same intent. You and I, we've come from 2 different places in this country. We're 2 different men, but we have the same, I guarantee you, we have the same intent for our children.
Yeah.
We both want what's best for our children.
Yeah.
And we're both going to do whatever it takes to give our children the absolute best thing.
Yeah.
And so why not just build something that empowers people to do exactly that? That's the most details I can share right now, and probably even share a little bit too much, but I think it's going to be a revolutionary thing because people deserve it. We're at an amazing time of human life where we can actually start doing good at scale.
Yeah.
We're choosing not to do good at scale. Like, that's the harsh thing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the harsh reality that people don't want to hear. We're doing damage at scale. But I think that companies like Maple, which I hope is a turning point in the technology industry, is primarily focused on making people's lives easier and better at scale.
Yeah.
And trying to level out the quality of life. Like, why is the 1% living so good?
Yeah.
The rules are different. The laws are different. The food they eat's different. Everything's different at the 1%.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been poor as fuck, and I'm now doing okay. And so I've been able to taste good sushi and bad sushi. And, like, what does the world look like when everyone gets to enjoy life a little bit easier? And I just feel like I want my son to just say he didn't give up on himself.
Yeah.
And if he wants to go be an artist or design clothes or, like, be a politician or be a baseball player or be an entrepreneur or be whatever he wants to be, a line chef, I don't actually care. If he doesn't even want to go to school, I don't actually care. What I care about is him not giving up on himself.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point in my life, if I didn't try to build Maple and I didn't try to chase those ambitions and I didn't try to chase those goals, and if I was open to sharing with him those things, I don't want to say to him, hey, like, I gave up too soon at 34, don't do that.
Yeah.
And I can't do that, but I can show him at 34 when I could have given up, I kept going.
Well, I think one thing that's been a benefit for me as a parent is finding the balance of the value of my kids seeing how hard me and Jackie work.
100%.
And no matter what, I think that is the difference with what Maple is now than what Kit is.
Yeah.
So Leander didn't see you and see what you and Alex did for Kit.
No.
But he's going to have the opportunity, hopefully, to see what Maple does.
God willing.
God willing. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no easy path to building a business. There's no guarantee that my goal, my hope for Maple, openly, is that Maple outlasts me.
Yeah.
I want to build a 100-year-old company.
Yeah.
I'd like to be taking my last breaths with someone else in charge of it.
Yeah.
And saying, wow, we did something super great for people. So we'll see. I mean, I'm very optimistic, and I think part of being an entrepreneur is that you're a default optimistic.
Exactly.
So I don't want to be drinking my own Kool-Aid, but we got a really good group of people working really hard, and I think we're all like just very well aware that the world could be better.
Totally. And something else that we have both learned is that to do the things that we do, to have the to be comfortable with a little bit of chaos, to be comfortable is the people that are attached to this ring.
Yeah.
And so how has Alex kind of influenced your ability to do the things that you've done or that you can do?
Oh, hold on. Let me fill this up a little bit more. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this here in case you'd like to treat yourself to a little more as well. But
yeah.
I think the hard part that most people don't realize is that Alex is my co-founder to life.
Yeah.
She's not just my wife or my life partner. We make decisions collectively together.
Yep.
Some of those decisions that we made in the early days was Alex saying, when I was selling cars, you really want to be an entrepreneur, step away from the car business, and I got our back. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there is no kit without Alex.
Totally.
This is a woman that has 2 degrees, one of the smartest people I know, was at UCSF doing breast cancer research, and then she's going and waiting tables at nighttime so that she can pay our server bills so that we could keep going. When investors didn't believe in us, Alex did.
Yeah.
And she never gets the recognition that she deserves for that.
Totally.
With Maple, it was an easy decision for her because she believes in me, but it was a harder conversation because you're naive when you build the first one.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And so this was more of are you prepared to sign up for this?
Yeah.
Are you going to support what this means for us? Which means, you're building a business. You work a lot.
Yeah.
And you take on a lot of stress, and you are responsible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And by default, when you're a founder of a company, I'm not prepared to call myself a CEO just yet, but when you're the founder of a company, the right thing to do is to put your company first.
Yeah.
Because they depend on you, and you're their leader, and that means that there's a certain amount of trust and respect that comes with that. And I got people on my team who are equally trying to build their families and have children.
Yeah.
And was my wife and my partner and my co-founder, is she ready to hold it the fuck down while I go do that?
Yeah.
And Alex, of course, just understands who she married 15 years ago.
Yep.
And understands what my DNA looks like, and understands that I probably wouldn't be happy unless I went and did that.
Yeah.
And I think that there's, one of the most unfair, unrecognized things is the selfishness that comes with building a business. And not only what that means for Alex, as my wife who unfortunately deals with the brunt of my unhappiness and stress when shit's not going well, but what does that mean for my mother and my father who see me stressed out, who see me losing weight, who see me not taking care of myself, what does this mean for my sister, my nephew? What does this mean for the people in my orbit?
Yeah.
And I can't do it without their support. I talked to both of my parents at 34 years of age before quitting Shopify to say, hey, this is what I believe in myself. Are you going to support me doing this? Because I need to know you're on Team MP.
Yeah.
And it was no doubt.
Yeah.
And I think that if any of them had said, I don't think you should do this, it would have massively affected my decision making on taking that step forward. But not a single person said, I don't think you should do this. Every single person in my family, I called my grandfather. I said, this is what I'm thinking, and I didn't even tell him the idea, and he's like, I fucking believe in you.
Yeah.
And I think that people don't understand how important that is.
Yeah. So if I'm a kind of switch it. One of the things that I've learned as a trainer, and one of the things that I think you're blessed to have, is not too many people have cheerleaders.
No, they don't. I'm extraordinarily blessed for that.
And because of that, and that's what I try to do within my training, is the actual science-based stuff of, doing the different things that are going to help you become more mobile, help you be stronger, and things like that. But it's making it okay to be that you can do it.
Yeah.
And telling you and being honest with you, I think you can do it, even if nobody's really done it before, or very little have done it before.
It's 100% right. Like, I think that there's a very fake, unauthentic representation of confidence.
Yeah.
There's no 100% confident person on this planet.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I feel like I'm a pretty confident guy, but even there's days where I'm looking at my ideas that no one has seen in the world yet.
Yeah.
I'm building a whole business around this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this it?
Yeah.
Is this right? And what's amazing is what my family is that they just vote on me so strongly.
Yeah.
Like, my parents aren't worried or scared about me hitting ground zero again, because they know that I've been designed and built and fucking fabricated to work my way out of any hole. Like, I've been to the bottom of hell.
Yeah.
I've climbed the highest mountain, and if I have to do that shit again, I fucking will.
Yeah.
Right? And they know that. I don't know if they would give that advice to every other parent, because you have to know each kid's DNA is so different. But regardless if that journey is being an entrepreneur and putting it all on the line, or career pivot, or becoming a doctor, or whatever it is, I think that the greatest thing that you could give somebody is remind yourself, for them, that we each have one admission ticket to this thing called life. Your ride is not my ride.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm going to cheerlead whatever fucking roller coaster you want to design for yourself.
Exactly. Same.
You want to go flat forever?
Yeah.
All good, bro.
Yeah.
I respect it. I love you. I hope that you enjoy, like, the scenic view.
Yeah.
You want to go all the way up, come all the way down, hit a corkscrew, do a loop, go back up, go back down. Like, I respect it. Like, I cheerlead you on because I know that that's a stomach turner.
Yeah.
It's a thriller, but it's a stomach turner.
Yeah.
And I just think that, like, we owe it to each other as humans to be like, hey, man, like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, what can we do good, or how can we enjoy this?
Yeah.
I want to watch more sunsets. I also want to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I want to take care of my son. I also want to take care of other people. And I think that there is a yin and yang between being selfish for your, like, immediate needs and being selfless for the community at large.
Totally.
And I think that entrepreneurship and my parents have really distilled in me, and what I hope to distill in my son, is, like, you have to have that balance of you and everyone else. You can work hard and buy yourself nice things, but you should also be highly philanthropic. I will always give almost anything I buy myself, I take that exact dollar and give it to charity.
Yeah.
And I just firmly believe that, like, we have to be community first. And I'm just super thankful that my parents, you, friends, family, I've never had anyone tell me, I mean, certainly I've had people tell me, you can't do this, this is a terrible idea. But those are the people I just cut out.
Yeah.
The people I keep in my orbit, people I keep close to me, and the people I build my environment with, and my tribe, and I want to participate in their tribe, are the people who are just like, I don't know if you can pull this shit off, but I'm going to cheerlead the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Right? If you came to me and said, hey, I'm going to be the next 24-hour fitness, I'm going to build 1,000 gyms, I'd be like, don't know if you can, but for show, I'm going to be there at the ribbon cutting ceremony for all 1,000, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's just like, it's not up to me to find out whether you can or not. It's up for me to cheerlead to watch you do it.
Yeah.
And I think that whoever's watching this, as a family member, as a friend, like, they underestimate that. I oftentimes think that that's what separates the success from unsuccessful, is just knowing your family has your back.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers. To cutting more ribbons.
Yeah. So we're going to go into some lightning round questions. Before we do that, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I do have some questions for you, actually.
All right.
And I actually, like, when you asked me what did Leander mean to me, I love that question. But I'm actually, like, super curious, because you have multiple children.
Yes.
What has actually just being, and obviously you've become a father at different chapters throughout life.
Yeah.
But what has it been for you to be a father and a husband,
Yeah.
building a business
Yeah.
with a co-founder. Like, you know, you have your own dynamic situation. What does that all look like for you?
For me, it's provided balance. I really believe in the aspects of karma to the 10th degree. And I feel that I would work myself to death if I didn't have my kids.
Yeah.
And I say work, I mean work myself from a career standpoint.
Yes.
But they give me their soccer practice, their homework, their
Forced mental breaks.
their love and affection, them running around butt naked, you know, and just not having a care in the world.
Yeah.
Those things, it I think it makes me stronger. It makes me more efficient.
Yeah.
I think the thing that it does, I was already had a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
But it's put a lot of juice into the empathy. You know, my oldest is autistic.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, I took the team out on Sunday. We had like a whiteboard session, and we were talking through different plans that we had that we're going to be doing over the next year. And then we went to dinner. We went to Brasswood, and we're sitting at dinner, and there's a family who has a baby who's maybe 6 months, and the baby's crying, and you know, they're having a hard time controlling it.
Been there.
And for me, and like a couple of my team members who don't have kids, it was starting to bother them a little bit. And for me, I was like totally at peace.
Yeah.
And it's more in the sense that I felt for those parents, but it didn't bother me. It actually made me calm. And so I think when you know you have something in this world that you care for more than your own life, when other things happen outside of that, you just have
empathy is the magic.
It is.
It's so sad because it's free.
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy empathy. And I think it's one of these things, you know, your story of being a parent, I think the problem is that you're included in their world without even being a part of it.
Yeah.
The parent bond, right? You're like, fuck, I remember being that guy, right? And I've equally, by the way, I've been on airplanes as a non-father.
Yeah.
And a kid's going crazy, and I'm like, can you just shut your kid up?
Yeah.
And then now as a father, when my kid's been on an airplane before COVID, and him crying and me sweating bullets, just feeling like immense guilt about everyone else on the plane, remembering being that guy. And on the same time being on an airplane without him pre-COVID, and another kid going crazy and me just feeling for that parent. And in the world that we're in today, there's a lot of anger today.
Yep.
Well, there's always been a lot of anger, but there's a lot of it's different. It's heightened, amplified. It's just all of it.
You can see it and you can feel it.
And you're just like, but imagine if that was you.
Yeah.
You know, like I often tell, maybe I guess this is what I should have said when you said what was the lesson, my favorite lesson my sons taught me, and then we can go into the lightning rounds.
Yeah.
Is like, I haven't always been the kindest person.
Yeah.
I think I've been a nice person, but not. I think there's a big difference between being nice and kind.
Yeah.
And now I basically approach every person with one simple reminder that that person is someone's child. And would I really want someone to treat my son any other way but kind? Could you imagine someone being mean to your kid?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've had kids come up, like your kid's crying and shit, and you're like, you probably want to kill him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what if we just treated every single person as if they were your own child?
Yeah.
The world would be so substantially better.
Yeah.
But it ain't gonna happen.
Exactly.
But we can hope.
Yeah, we can hope. For sure. All right. Well, we're going to go into lightning round.
All right.
These questions, I want you to give me the answer that first comes to your mind.
Oh, fuck. I hate these. All right.
All right. But it doesn't have to be...
So I have no time to like have a second just to like have a second, or do you really want to be like the first thing that comes to mind?
I mean, like, I would say you got 3 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
You got to be clutch.
So this is like chess, like next.
but you can take time to elaborate.
Okay.
But I don't want you to calculate it too much.
Okay, that's fine.
All
Okay,
right.
fair enough.
All right. Up late or up early?
Up early.
Sports or books?
I'm going to say, oh, wow. Fuck, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say books.
Okay.
I want to elaborate on that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I love sports.
Yeah.
Like the Raiders are my shit. I want to buy the Raiders someday. Like, bring them back to Oakland because I think Oakland should have never lost a team. I love my Warriors. I love playing golf. So I think if the question was, do you prefer to play sports versus reading, I would have chosen probably play sports.
Yeah.
But if it's watching sports versus reading, I'm probably going with reading, and only because I'm at this chapter of my life. 5 years ago, the answer would have been different. But right now, I'm extraordinarily greedy for knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I want to just continuously expand my mind and get smart.
Totally.
And I still indulge in sports, but if it was like you have 2 hours in complete silence to sit there and read something and get smarter, or 2 hours in complete silence and watch the Raiders, I think right now probably 8 out of 10 times I'm choosing reading.
Cool. Favorite way to say hello?
Hello. No, hi. Hi.
Okay. Breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, or dessert? Which one do you prefer? Which one you like the most?
I'm going to say Monday through Friday dinner, Saturday and Sunday breakfast. So I don't eat breakfast Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I always eat breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays. For further context on that, when I sold cars, I never got to eat breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays because in the car business, you have to work Saturdays and Sundays and you have to be at the dealership by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And so, like, eating breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays now to me feels like freedom.
Yes.
Same with wearing a beard. My father never let us wear facial hair, and I wear facial hair because it's a representation of freedom. But, like, dinner, I'm not missing dinner, bro.
Gotcha. City or rural?
I rural now,
Okay.
at this stage of life.
Yeah. Boxing or golf?
Can I get clarity? Is it to play or to watch?
Play.
Golf.
Yeah. Best place you surfed?
I'm going to go with favorite place I've surfed, and that is
Yeah.
in Rincon, just outside of Santa Barbara.
Okay. Best decade of hip hop?
I'm going to go, I'm going to go 90s.
All right. Cool.
No, I'm going to go early 2000s. Early 2000s, for sure, yeah.
All right. First decade of 2000s. Okay. Best artist to work out to?
Oh, shit. That's going to either be DMX or Tupac.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that was the lightning round. And now we got the last thing we're going to be doing here, and is we're going to do a draft. And I already gave Michael the topic. The topic is, if you were going somewhere for a year and you could only have these hip-hop artists catalog from the 90s or from 2000 to 2010, that decade, what are the artists you would have? And so we're going to do a draft format. He's going to have the first pick, then I'll go, and we'll go back and forth until we get our top 5. So we'll get 5 picks each, and we'll see how this goes, because he could take one of my top 5.
Oh, I'm definitely taking one of your top 5.
I know that's happening.
I came with no preparation, by the way. I'm like, I create some scenarios in my head, but I'm treating this like fantasy football. I got some hopes.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared that most of my list is going to get wiped off after picks 1 through 3.
Well, it should be interesting. I mean, I grew up in the South, so
Yeah.
it should be interesting where that tails from, and then you grew up on the West
West
Coast.
Coast.
So
It'll be interesting if you start south first. That's what I'm actually interested in, because
Well, it depends.
to really do this right, you got to have a little east, a little west, and a little south.
we're gonna
You got to have a little east, west, and south if you really want
find
to.
this out.
All right.
All right. You're up, sir. Your first pick for 90s or 2000s artist catalog.
I mean, I feel like this is the person that I feel like really brought me into rap because of the time and my age.
Yeah.
And I feel like no one put us on bigger, so I have to take Tupac as my very first pick.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
So, it's just that California love.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, for me, I have to go with the Evolution. We've seen the Evolution.
Oh, wow.
And I think Jay.
No, so that was even my second pick. That should have been my first pick. And
the funny thing.
That's my favorite artist, by the way.
The funny thing is, I've had some of Jay's stuff from the '90s, but I really.
What's your favorite album in the '90s? I'm gonna put you on blast with your own people. If you can't name an album right now, I'm gonna say you gotta give that pick up. If you can't put up an album right now of Jay-Z in the '90s, you gotta give that pick up.
I love this. It was. I will go with. My nigga, what?
That's a track. You want to go tracks or you want to go albums? See, I'm calling him out right now to Donovan's fan base.
Yeah, you can call me out.
You could have said Blueprint. You could have said Hard Knock Life Volume 2.
Well, I'm thinking within the 2010s too. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, honestly, my favorite Jay-Z album is the Watch the Throne album with him and
easy.
That's Kanye. Like that for
top
me.
Top 5 rap albums maybe ever.
So like for me, that's my favorite album. Even though this is not in that decade, I do like 444 from the execution of being a husband and the execution of that.
That was a very honest album.
Very honest album. I like that. So for me, honestly, the 90s part wasn't the stuff of Jay that I loved the most.
Early 2000s, that Black Album.
Black Album, for sure. And then it's almost everything after that.
Yeah.
Because he made a conscious effort to switch where he was going to be more of a business person than he was an artist.
Yeah.
So my pick is Jay-Z.
That's such a damn. I don't feel regretful. I'm happy you picked him up, but like in 5th grade, my mom got me Hard Knock Life Volume 2 as a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
I probably played that CD till
that's the one. It's Hard Knock. That's what it is.
That was the album.
Yeah.
That album was.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's tough. Because that was my backup. I didn't think you were going to go there, and that was like my guaranteed lock-in spot for 2. And I'm not really liking where I'm going to go with 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I know there's a chance that if I take this person at 2, you're definitely going to take this. You mean, okay. I'm going Lil Wayne for artist number 2.
Ooh, that's a good pick. That wasn't going to be my number 2. But
no, that wasn't going to be your number 2, but I have a feeling that.
I'm going to go Outkast.
Wow, Outkast was going to be my ATL pick, so that hurts. Okay.
Because Equimini is my favorite album of theirs. But it sounds like Atlanta. It sounds like stuff you drive around in a Cadillac, or you drive. It's driving music.
Yeah, it is.
And it just has Spaghetti Junction. I mean, like speaker box. I'm so that's my pick for the second one. What's your third?
This is gonna be controversial, and I'm gonna lose a tremendous amount of credit with this pick, but I don't even give a shit. And it's singularly for one album because it's a nostalgic album for me.
Yeah.
And I got to take that College Dropout Kanye West in my third spot.
Yeah.
Because College Dropout and Late Registration, and I don't know when Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, but
it's close.
But that music from the stuff he was putting out from 2004 to 2010.
Yeah.
It was special.
It was incredible.
It was special. And like the College Dropout, if you had to like literally, there's few albums that you can like start at the beginning and play the whole way through.
Totally.
But All Falls Down, Jesus Walks.
Well, this is the thing.
That song with Twista.
It's a reason why he still gets noise.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it's like it still carries him. The work that he did that decade.
Yeah.
Has given him an orchard of juice.
Oh, forever.
It kind of imparts that. So I totally get that. All right, third pick for me. I'm gonna pick this person because I don't think you're gonna pick them either way. But I will say that this is probably my favorite overall hip hop artist. Rick Ross.
I was gonna pick Rick Ross next, by the way. So I was gonna pick Rick Ross because that Port of Miami is just like one of the all-time best.
It's
And then what was the one after that? Trilla.
Yeah, you got Trillo. You have.
What was the album Magnificent with John Legend? That's one of the best songs. Just.
Oh yeah. I think it's.
Okay, so you got right now a pretty strong lineup because you got Jay, which is probably the best pick in the entire draft. Then you got Outkast, which is interesting because it's a duet, and then you just picked up Rick Ross.
Yeah.
That's strong. So I'm on pick 4. So I got Tupac, I got Wayne, I got Kanye.
That's
It's all right. If we took singles, I think I'd be giving a good run for the money here, but it'd be interesting, by the way, which I'm not picking this person, but it would have been interesting if you said Andre 3000 over Outkast.
Yeah.
Different conversation, different day, but Jay's gone. I think the library is small. I'm gonna go with quality over quantity here.
Gotcha.
And I got to execute the game plan, which was I got the West, I got the South.
Gotcha.
I got the Midwest.
Yeah.
But I'm missing some of that flavor in your ear from that East Coast. So I gotta go with my boy Biggie. I gotta go with the Notorious B.I.G. for my fourth spot.
Yes,
and out of respect, I was worried that fool wasn't gonna make the top 10, and he definitely deserves to be in the top 10.
He totally does. This is tough because the next one, I gotta go with the ones I listen to. So I'm gonna go with Jeezy.
Okay.
And
I respect it though.
Because there is, if you wanna some hustling music, some music that like makes you wanna like, oh, I gotta go get it.
Yeah. He's beyond up there. He's that snowman. He's just
he has it. Him and Rick definitely do it for me on that. But especially from that like sense of like, okay, I got a day of work I need to tackle. I'm gonna go Jeezy. So Jeezy's gonna be my 4.
So you definitely messed up my list because 2 of the people you picked, Outkast was gonna. Basically, I wanted to try to grab Outkast for the South, even though I picked up. I mean, Wayne's in the South too, but that was my Atlanta pick. I feel kind of like I'm not doing justice by not having something out of Atlanta on my list.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a scene.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't disrespect Atlanta. I got New York covered. I got Tupac is California because he kind of touches the Bay and LA. I mean, this is one of those people who I don't think that they've put out any real magic since 2010, but they've really put out magic from 2002 to 2010, and I got to represent him, but Mr. T.I.
Oh, okay. That's good.
What do you think I was going to say?
I tell you who I thought you were going to say because it's my last pick.
Are you taking him?
I'm taking my last pick, and
Okay.
I'll tell you. I was battling between Jeezy and T.I.
Yeah.
Because for me, they serve similar purposes.
Yeah, they do.
To get somebody on the West Coast that I felt like I enjoy their music, I gotta go with Dre.
Yeah, 100%.
I gotta go.
I mean, it'd be disrespectful for him not to.
DRE. It's not even him as a rapper; it's more him as his catalog, and it's not huge, but
4 albums. But Chronic and Chronic 2001 are like
yeah.
top 10. Somewhere, one of those 2 albums is fitting in top 10 best hip hop albums of all time, in my opinion.
Totally. So you have Tupac, Lil Wayne, Kanye West, Biggie, T.I.
Yeah.
I have Jay-Z, Outkast, Rick Ross, Jeezy, and Dr. Dre.
It's a strong 5-on-5.
I know, man.
We need the verses out here.
I know, exactly. We'll make it happen, DJ it up.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sitting down with me for Trainers Talks.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me.
No problem. And is any closing remarks?
Yeah, actually. I think anyone that's listening to this, I think it's incredible and applaudable for anyone who's always willing to have the courage to be disliked. And I think we oftentimes just forget that it's one ride and you got to have the courage to just be yourself. And I think a lot about the conversations that we've had in our own journeys, in our own lives, in our own things is like the real special people are the ones who are willing to pursue that level of truth.
Yeah.
And I wish to everyone the equal freedom within themselves and the courage to live an honest life. Because it's terrible to be a prisoner in any other way.
Well said. Well, thank you again. Cheers.
Thank you all. Cheers.